What's going on? Welcome to Totally Blitz Podcast. We finna break down the NFC East 2023-2024 NFL preview, division picks, division losers, all that. It's always go down, like, subscribe, comment down below your picks, your bets, your prop bets, anything you got for this season. As always, I'm Paul, picking Wyndham Concha, and I'm joined with.
And you already know, man, it's your boy Cap, Water Boy's boy, aka the Don PYE, always known as the realest on your screen. And boy, oh, I be so excited to talk football. I don't be knowing. I just don't be knowing until it gets here. But this low key might be one of the funnest divisions in the league right now because of just the success that they've been having, the electricity that these teams have been bringing, and the dog mentality in these motherfuckers. So this division is low key about to be electric this season.
Yeah, and right now with the odds, one of the some of the so top two teams is top two team heavy on the odds. Like Eagles minus 115, Cowboys plus 175, not that big of a jump. But then you got Giants plus 750, Commanders plus 1300. Massive odds on those other two teams. Every team seems to be they already know their identities, except for the Washington. They got two head coaches in Bellamy and Ron Rivera. We're gonna see if Eric Bellamy is really the guru. Was he really calling plays for the Chiefs? We'll find out for this season. But
Is it Bellamy or Bienemy?
oh, be enemy.
I told myself I was like, I'm gonna help Paul with his phonics this year because the first year we did the podcast, I wanted to make a clip of all the names that you messed up, but I just never
Oh, but I
had
was
time to
fucking
get
them
time
up.
about it. But like, it's crazy because you mess up names on the NFL, but on the MMA, like you be killing it. You be killing it.
Not as many names to have to remember for a card versus the NFL. The 52-man teams.
Shit be killing me every time you say Micah Parsons. You mean Mika Parsons? I mean,
And that's the one I remember too, to be honest.
and I'd be like, oh yeah, Paul will go eat them. I can't wait till we meet these niggas, and I'd be like, yeah, what's up, Mika?
Oh, let's talk. We got the Eagles. Went to the Super Bowl. They lost in the Super Bowl. Everyone's saying Jalen Hurts took that shit personally. He's got a chip on his shoulder. All that good stuff that every team loves to say. But they did end up losing fucking who? They lost Miles Sanders at running back. They went out and bought DeAndre Swift in a trade. Rashad Penny from the Seahawks. They brought back the offensive line. They brought back the same defense. They traded. They got Nolan Smith out of fucking Georgia, and then they also went up in the draft and traded and got Jalen Carter, who a lot of people are saying Jalen Carter, defensive line. A lot of people are saying he's the best prospect in the draft prior to the incident with the car wreck and everything that happened that day. Could have been the best steal. They lost their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. But I mean, he still got Sirianni, the head coach, with the ship. Darius Slay's back. I mean, the team's back. Are they run? Is this Super Bowl or bust type season for them? Like it's time. Like this is their window.
Fuck no. What? Nick Sirianni went to the playoffs his first year. In the second, he went to the Super Bowl. And this is a team. He turned his team. His team has been able to help mold Jalen Hurts into the fucking MVP candidate that he is. You're one of the early people screaming at Jalen Hurts, mobile and throwing that he's a fantasy monster, and that's only gonna translate into his normal game. They have
Got the
AJ Brown,
bag.
Deontay Smith, motherfucking. You still have this defense. You still have that front seven putting on the pressure that they have. Like you said, we still have Darius Slay. We still have what's dude on the other side?
Bradbury Island, Hassan
Bradbury.
Reddick.
I was looking at Hassan Reddick, the fucking. He's like the in between linebacker and safety. He's fucking in. He's a fucking problem. Like, oh, I was watching a video that was talking about the biggest mistakes everybody's made this season, this off season. A lot of people had like some big mistakes, but for the Eagles, the worst they could say was they lost C.J. Gardner Johnson.
Dog.
That's it. Like that was the worst that they could say. And bro, it's literally just a a cornerback one on another team. He's gonna end up being a cornerback one on another team, on a team that already has two cornerback ones. So this Eagles team is only gonna get better. They're only gonna mold well. And I just think the only difference between this year and last year is that they have more consistently difficult difficult games versus last year where the hardest game was like against the Vikings.
Yeah, this would be a much tougher road this year. NFC
Mm-hmm.
is wide open though. Not as many juggernauts as there were anymore. Right now, the two favorites to win the whole NFC, go to the Super Bowl, are the 49ers and the Eagles, who we did see in the championship game last year. Rightfully so. Only team that right now, odds wise, not saying my opinion, but odds wise, that's stacking up with them in the division, Cowboys. Dak Prescott just stop turning the ball over. Can he do it? He promised this year he's not going to throw no more. He's not throwing 10 because they kept saying how he threw like 16 last year. He said, I'm not even going to throw 10 this year.
That's a fucking lot. 16.
Yeah. Only him and Josh Allen were the ones racing to throw the most picks. But if he can't throw, if he doesn't turn it over, I mean, they still another elite defense. Then
No one.
Tony Pollard. There, no more Zeke. It's gonna be the Tony Pollard show. What people were screaming for a while. CD's still there. They went out and traded for Brandon Cooks, who prior to the Texans was 1,000-yard receiver. So maybe he's gonna come back. And then they got Stephon Gilmore to go next to Tavon Diggs in a trade. So like, it's always the same old Cowboys though.
I look at it like Jerry Jones did his job this season, this offseason. He really put in some work. I don't even know who they drafted. That's how much work they put in this offseason. Like they did what they needed to do and they set their team up to win. Now it's about execution. Don't forget, they still got Zach Martin, one of the best in his position, probably one of the best old linemen.
Gave him the money he was asking for because he was threatening to hold out. They gave him the money.
Fact. So like they probably still got I forget what the wide receiver 3 is, but he's a dog.
Oh, Michael Gallup coming back.
Yep, dog. So like it's up to them. Like, can Dak stop turning the ball over? Can Tony Pollard step up and with all these extra touches? Can he continue to be a baller, an all-around baller, and be a good receiving back? I don't know, man. This team is nice. Can Trayvon Diggs? Everybody talks so highly of him, and I think he's a great cornerback, and I think he does that. But he does also give up the most yards. But we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah.
But we're only gonna talk about the positives and what they can be doing next season. So I respect it. I like it. We'll see what happens.
And then from the two most solid teams that everyone knows what to expect from them to the biggest question mark, the biggest dog in the division right here, Washington Commanders. They got two head coaches basically, Ron Rivera and Bellamy of how do you say his name? Bellamy.
Bieniemy.
Yeah, they got Bieniemy, who, if he is the person that was calling plays, maybe he'll. I mean, Sam Howell was looking good in the preseason. I know it's only preseason, but his one little session, he looked great, scored a touchdown. I'm not big on Sam Howell. He's a bum to me. But what do you think, Kev?
Did you hear about what Ron Rivera said about Eric Bieniemy in the past?
No, what did he? I have a feeling it's not the highest of regard.
I remember they were talking about it because he had to eat his words. I want to give his exact.
Was this when he was on the Commanders, or was this when he was on the Panthers?
This is when he was on the Panthers. I believe. Let me look up his exact words. He says you have to learn to be uncomfortable. He said, "Yeah, I put my foot in my mouth when discussing Eric Bieniemy back in the." He said, "Yeah, I really put my foot in my mouth when I was discussing Eric Bieniemy." Oh, I can't respect it, but he was talking shit. He was like, "Yo, like, cause Andy Reid calls the plays on that team. He's kind of like the hit in the mouth, and now he looks like a fucking dickhead because Eric Bieniemy is his offensive coordinator." So that's the most interesting dynamic I want to see. I want to see, do they respect Eric Bieniemy? Does Eric Bieniemy respect him? Is this team going to come into? Because you got Scary Terry. And who's the running back? They did have a decent running back. And then you got
the rookie out of Alabama last year, Brian Robinson. Remember, he got shot, came back week 5.
Facts. You got Jahan Dotson. Like,
he was great.
You got a nice little offense, and then this offense won games with Taylor Heineke starting last year. Who's our backup? Shout out to boy Taylor Heineke, number 4. But if you can win games with Taylor Heineke, you should be able to end this offense that you worked on. Still got a decent O-line. Like, I don't know, man. I'm looking at this Commanders team to at least be a spoiler for one of these teams later.
I'm not high. I like everything they did in Austin. I like Curtis Samuel. I like Jawan Dotson. I like Terry. I'm not big on Brian Robinson, but the defensive line is filled with first round picks. Chase Young has to step up. He's been non-existent. Had a great rookie year since then. Where he's been, but I'm Sam Howell was the one quarterback that I was saying the most shit about when draft season was approaching last year, and I still stand on what I said. I think he's gonna be overdrafted. He was drafted in the first round, late pick, and I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I think we're gonna see a lot of turnovers because the running game wasn't getting rolling that well, and if they're on like a third and long, I just see him making mistakes, and I see him probably turnovers. I could see him if he plays a full season potentially leading the league in turnovers. And this is the same league with Dak. And it's also because he's gonna have to play the Eagles twice a year. He's gonna have to play the Cowboys twice a year. And those are two defenses that like if you're not playing well and you're not a good quarterback, then you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. And that's you play them twice a year, you're gonna get a lot of turnovers, I think, out of Howell.
Facts. I looked up as two defenses that know how to score points. So if you really come in this bitch not on point and even showing that you're a rookie, oh, they gonna expose it.
And then another kind of question mark, not really because it's the same team mostly. With only I see upgrades. I mean, Daniel Jones, 4 years, $160 million. Saquon Barkley on the non-exclusive franchise tag. They went out and got traded for Darren Waller, who is going to be the tight end. Baller went healthy, so they got a weapon for him. Still got Saquon. Jameson Crowder signed, Sterling Shepard re-signed, Paris Campbell from the Colts came over. They got a few wide receivers. Defense is got the same boys. And shout out that boy Amani. He's now a New York Giant. He's gonna be playing corner
Nice.
for the red, white, and blue out there. And then Dexter Lawrence, one of the best defensive tackles. 4 years, $90 million. And the offensive lineman, I forget his name last year, Andrew Thomas, looked like a fucking stud at left tackle, made people eat their words. So Giants are interesting to me. And I'm a big Giant hater and a big Daniel Jones hater. And I'm even saying they're kind of interesting.
And they're coming off a playoff berth. They beat the Cowboys in the first round last year.
So they beat the Vikings.
Oh no, beat my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. They beat the Vikings. The Eagles beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, yeah.
My bad, my bad, my bad. Appreciate the save. But they're looking good. They have they're very well coached team with Brian Daboll. All they have to do is just eat because they were doing this with they made the playoffs last year with receivers that what probably was the highest drop rate in the league. I swear. Like these motherfuckers were dropping everything. They traded Kadarius Toney in the middle of the season, and we saw him flourish at motherfucker in Kansas City, win the Super Bowl. Like this Giants team is ready to make something happen, and they understand they're not no bitches. And Daniel Jones, it might be hard to believe in him, but you can't say that he does have fight. Remember when we was calling him Danny Wheels and Danny Dimes? Like throughout the season, he finds ways to win and put his team in favorable situations. So I do respect this Giants teams. Shout out to Monty for joining that team. I didn't know that he got traded or went over there, but that's fire. Hope he enjoys New York. Hope you run into motherfucking Sauce Gardner and all them boys. And y'all boys get some practice in or something. But damn, that's kind of fire. I do like this team. So that's what makes this division so interesting. Because as you can see, I've talked highly on all these motherfuckers.
Yeah, and Daniel Jones, I mean, I'm not a big believer in him, but similar to my Desmond Riddler take with the Falcons, I'm a believer in DeBall and the system that he runs. And you got Saquon, this is gonna be a run heavy offense, and then a little play action to Darren Waller here and there. Something I can see scoring points, and I think they'll make the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see where they rank in the divisions, but they're a team that's gonna be wild card right in that rankings. I think they're one of the more better put together teams in the NFC, which is very top heavy. There's not a lot of depth to the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
So you got anything else on the Giants before we make our division picks?
No, not really. I don't know if he played. I gotta check the schedule. I have not checked a single schedule this year.
Oh, for real? I don't pay too much attention to the schedule because every week's a different team. With game plan, it doesn't matter. Grayless faces.
Oh, this guy think he Mike Tomlin.
But again, for anyone that don't know, it is on the screen next to us. Eagles minus 115, Cowboys plus 175, Giants plus 700, and Commanders plus 1300 right now. Who do you got, and how's your ranking going with this division?
Oh, it's easy. I think it's the same as going as last year. And the Eagles number one, Cowboys number two, both making it to the playoffs. Number three, I'm gonna give it to the Giants because they've only gotten better since last year. They haven't motherfucking really done too much, nothing crazy. So as long as people come to execute and show that they're worth the money that they got paid for, the Giants should sneak their way into the playoffs on some wild card shit. But I also think the Giants probably won't get swept by any of these teams. They can go 1-1 with all the teams in their divisions, if not 0-2 they ass. Like 2-0 they ass. So motherfucking. So shout out the Giants, shout out them boys. Yeah, that's all I can say about them. And then I'll take the Commanders going last, just because there's some newer stuff going on. They're still not sure exactly where they're at now that they got a new coach. They got a new offensive coordinator, a new owner, and Dan Snyder's out of there. So they don't really know their identity immediately. And I'm still not all the way sold on this name. I think they should try to change it one more time. You feel me?
They are open to changing it, but I'm a co-sign Kev. Through and through, I agree. I think the Eagles is the best built team, defensively sound, offensively they got an unstoppable play with Jalen Hurts in the goal line. DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny are going to fill the void for Miles Sanders, and they love that three-head committee. Cowboys, another great defense. Even if Dak does turn over the ball a lot, they still win games. So if he does clean it up, they are probably a little scarier. Giants, same reasons Kev said, they're getting better. And then Commanders, not only do I have them coming last, I don't think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to have like a 4 to 5 win season. And towards the end of the season, they might be in that. Should we start tanking because Sam Howell's not the guy? And there's going to be two studs that people are saying coming out of college, and Drake May, who's my number one clear cut, and then a lot of people's number one, Caleb Williams out of USC. And I'm gonna take it a step further, and I'm gonna walk you through it. First coach fired, Ron Rivera, plus 700. I like that. I'm gonna give that out to people, and it's because y'all brought over the enemy as a like head coach in training. Like we'll see how if he is the guy, then we'll make him our coach. Like you can't be two coaches. And if this season starts blowing up and or whatever, I could see this is the scapegoat of and like I said, new ownership. They didn't hire Rivera. Like they did hire this guy though. So I think I could see I just like the odds. He's not the favorite. Like there's a few you gotta go down the list before you hit Ron Rivera. And I'm like, I can see a world where Ron Rivera is not around after week 6.
That'd be crazy if you call that shit, because you know how we be calling them coaches firing. But yeah, and also Chase Young, they didn't pick up Chase Young's 5th-year option.
He hasn't done nothing since he had that one good year, and like he'll be here. I think he still has one more year. They didn't pick it up, so I don't know. I think he comes back, but he's not he's still on the rookie number. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's still on the rookie contract for one more year, and they just didn't pick up that next year. But the thing about Chase Young is that last year was interesting because a lot of times they were saying that he'll be back next week, and then he'll be hurt for 2 more weeks. Like it was very, very interesting to see how Chase Young how they maneuver with Chase Young. And now it's looking like they might be going away from Chase Young. And I will say, man, that's something I will be watching all season. I'll be watching what's they doing with that guy? Because they might be wasting talent over there.
Facts. And also this will be his contract year. They say it all the time. This is his contract year. So maybe he does step up and start balling out.
Or he'll pull a Baker. Remember when we was telling Baker you got to step up. It's your contract year.
And then also
now he's on his 3rd team in 2 years.
But that wraps us up for the NFC East. Like I said, it's one of the more interesting divisions of the year. We have, honestly, I'm a co-sign Kev with 3 teams making the playoffs here. I think that's a good take. I think they have 3 playoff caliber teams in the NFC. As always, though, if y'all didn't know, this is Paul Pickle Win of Concha. I'm joined with Kev Waterboy Savoy. This is Totally Blitz podcast. And if y'all don't know, now y'all know, motherfuckers.